Good morning, class. We're going to look at, and for reading your pages 132 and 137 in your reader's notebook. I'm helping Ms. Campbell out with doing these real quick because we're at home right now, and I got a pretty cool computer at home that can work pretty good stuff on it. So 132 is pretty simple. All we got to do is go through these sentences and fill in a sentence with these words. And we know what most of these words are. We have cause, officer, pause, walkie-talkies, foggy, fault, squawked, already, flossing. I'm going to tell you the hint. This is not the Fortnite dance, okay? You cannot say Jake started flossing on Donovan after he beat him in Fortnite. It's not different flossing. So, and if you don't know what some of these words are, it's cool that we can have a dictionary. And I'm going to use a dictionary for the second page, and I'll show you why. So let's just go through these sentences together. I'm using my at-home tablet to write on, and some of you guys in Miss Campbell's class have seen it. My class knows what I use. So it's going to be a little bit more sloppier than it usually is because this tablet's real sensitive, but I'll try my best for you. So, number one says, my friend and I used blank to communicate. Well, what up here could we use to communicate? And communicate means talk to each other. Well, we're going to use any of these, calls, officer, pause? I don't think so. Could we use walkie-talkies? Yes. Foggy, fault? No. Could we use squawked to communicate? You could squawk, but it doesn't really make sense. Already or flossing? We really only have one option here, and it's going to be walkie-talkies. So my friend and I used walkie-talkies. I was going to cross that out because I've used it. Number two, brushing in what keeps teeth healthy? Well, I think we all know what that one is. There's only one answer to this. It's flossing. If you brush and floss, you're going to have healthy teeth. The next one, the chicken blinked loudly and flapped its wings. What could the chicken do? Well, we look at, if you guys hear my cat, I'm sorry. The chicken squawked. That's what chickens do. They squawk. Make sure you're spelling this right. If you spell this wrong, it's nonsense, guys. Nonsense. The next one. The police blank directed traffic when lights were not working. The police what? Well, we know it should be officer. I'll do one more, and then I'll let you guys have 6, 7, 8, and 9 to do by yourself. So the last one says, Dr. Ross finally figured out the blank of the baby's fever. Did Dr. Ross figure out the cause of the baby's fever, the pause, the foggy, the fault, and the already of the baby's fever? Well, there's only really two that make sense, and it's cause and fault. And really, I would probably stick with cause. Dr. Ross finally figured out the fault of the baby's fever. That really kind of does not make sense. So we're going to go with cause. Cause. Now, 6, 7, 8, and 9, you guys only have 4 words, okay? Take these 4 words and fill them in what you think they would fit in. And they're not really that bad. Now, that's for 132. If you wrap up 132, you can pause the video now, or we can just continue on. You can go back to it and wrap it up because we're going to go to 137. Okay. Now, 137 is actually a kind of a tough page because you're going to have to use a dictionary, and some of you guys don't have a dictionary laying around, and that's great if you don't, because we're going to use dictionary.com. It's actually a dictionary, an online dictionary. Now, shades of meaning. What does that mean? A shade of a meaning. I can't lay under a tree or under a word and get shade. That makes no sense to me. Well, for all these words below, guys, 1 through 6, they're very related to each other. They're very related. But some of you guys might say, I've never heard this word before. I don't know what this word means. That's fine. Because if you haven't, we have a dictionary. Okay. But I'm going to give you a hint. These words all mean something very similar. Now, the shade of meaning is something light to something unique, and a number 4 on this page. So look at number 4. Number 4 on this page really helps us understand what this means. We're going to take these words and write them on the line from, the lightest to the darkest. The lightest meaning not as bad, or a word that we all know, not as severe, not as elaborate, not as detailed, So if we have something scorching, hot, and warm, the lightest is really going to be warm. We know what that means. That's a pretty light word, warm. Let me get my drawing up here. So I'm going to write warm right here. Then put a comma. In between those next 2 words, what ones would probably be next? And I hope you would say hot. And lastly, it'd be scorching. So if you're writing, let's say you're working on a writing, and you would say, I put my hand on the stove and it was warm. You could say that. Or if you want to make your reader feel something a little bit more, you would say, I put my hand on the stove and it was really hot. I burned myself. Right? Or if you really, really wanted to catch your reader's attention and really make them understand, you could say, I put my hand on the stove, or I put my hand on the scorching stove, and it was so hot that my hand blistered. The word scorching gives us a lot deeper meaning, a lot darker, deeper meaning, which is the shade of the word. Okay? So you could say warm, that's fine. You could say hot. But if you said scorching, that's like, oh man, I really understand this. So let's look up number 1. We have believe, suspect, and think. Well, I will tell you, the first one in this is really just going to be think. We can start with something and think something. We think something might be true. We think this is the right answer. But once we start to think it, we're going to really, really start to suspect it. If we suspect it, we really almost think or believe that something could be true. So when you're writing a sentence, you can say, I think this is the right answer. That's fine. But if you want to make your writing a little bit fancy, you can say, I suspect that would be the right answer. But if you're confident, you would say, I believe that this is the right answer. Believe is going to get the reader to understand, to have a stronger feel towards it. Think, they don't really know. Suspect, you still don't know, but if you believe, you're confident, you do know. The next one, we have happy, elated, and content. Well, I know everyone knows what happy means. What does content mean? Content mean right here. Something that is expressed in a medium. So if you're content with something, you're not really happy, you're not really sad, you're just there, okay? And that's pretty light. So we're going to use content first. Now we have happy or elated. Well, I know what happy means, but let me see what elated means. I'm going to go up here in my search bar. I'm going to type in elated. And elated is very happy or proud, jubilant, in high spirits, You think that means a little bit deeper than happy? I know I do. So I'm going to put happy second because if you're content, you're happy, but you're not, you don't really know. But now we know we're happy. And if something goes our way, we win the lottery or we get first place or do something, we're going to be elated. And Miss Campbell's class and my class, I'm going to give you guys a quick tip. First one to come to me and use the word elated in the correct sentence, I will give you a chance card. But the first one I'll give a ring pop. So this is a small little quiz in this. First one to come to me when we're at school, Monday, Tuesday kids, and Thursday, Friday kids, and use the word elated. Anybody that comes to me and uses the word elated will get a chance card. But the first person who comes to me out of each class, I'll give a ring pop. So my class has a chance, and Miss Campbell's class. This is to see if you're watching. Next, we have angry, upset, furious, and annoyed. Which one of these is the lightest one? You could be angry, upset, furious, or annoyed. I would honestly say the lightest one. Before anything, you guys probably get annoyed with something. So I would say annoyed. Now, the next one, after you get annoyed, you probably get a little upset. But after you're done feeling upset, you're going to start to get angry. Actually, let's not use angry because there's a word in there that looks a little bit weird. Furious. I've been around the block. I don't know what furious means. So I'm going to go over to my dictionary and I'm going to use furious. What does furious mean? Full of fury, violent passion, or rage. Extremely angry. So I think furious is a little bit darker than angry. So I would use angry here and furious last. Because furious is the darkest meaning of this. And this is like shades of meaning. You want to go from light to dark. So we've got 4 done. Number 5 is kind of a tough one. So we're talking about looking, glancing, glaring, and staring. If we glance at something, just a quick glance, did we really look? No. So that's pretty light. I glanced at the textbook. I would start glance at number 1. Now, we have look, glare, and stare. Well, I want to know what glare means. If we glare at something, glare means to shine or a very harsh, bright, dazzling light. Oh man, glare seems pretty strong. Or to stare with fiercely or angrily piercing look. So if you're glaring at somebody, you're not looking at them pretty happy. So let's save that one, maybe for last. So I would look at the next one. We have between look and stare. If you look at someone or stare at someone, what's going to be harder? Probably stare. So look's going to go here. We know stare is going to be here, and then glare is definitely going to be here. That's the darkest one. So you can, I glanced across at the opposing team to see my competition. Okay, you just had a quick look. Or I looked across the field at my opposing team to see the competition. All right, you're looking at them. You could say, I stared at my competition to see the opposing team and their competition, which means you're not looking away. You're looking straight at them. You're not looking away, not one bit. Or you could say, I glared at the opposing team, which means you stared at them angrily. You stared at them fiercely. You stared at them, letting them know, I'm ready. Okay? So glare definitely is going to be the last one. Last one. You have excited, exhilarated, and enthusiastic. Well, we kind of can pick out which one's going to be first because it's going to be excited. You can be excited about a lot of things, looking forward to something. I'm excited. Well, the real question is going to be between exhilarated and enthusiastic. What one's going to go next? Well, let me look at both of these. I'm going to use, and make sure you're using correct spelling. I'm going to look up exhilarated first. Exhilarate. That means to make cheerful or merry or enliven, invigorate, stimulate. You guys don't know these words, but they're pretty deep words. If you don't know them, I'm going to say they're going to be pretty dark. Not dark as in bad. Enthusiastic. Full of, characterized by enthusiasm, ardent. And enthusiasm is absorbing, controlling the mind of interest. So basically you're interested in something. So I'm definitely going to go with enthusiastic next. And lastly, it's going to be exhilarated. So if you go to a water park and you're excited, that's awesome, because I'd be excited too. But if you you're really enthusiastic and looking forward to going to this water park, means you're pretty much, hey, I'm hopeful. I think it's going to be a great time. But if you're exhilarated, you just can't stand it. You're excited, you're looking forward to it, you're everything. You have everything in your favor. So I know this page was actually kind of hard. Remember, you guys can use the word elated. Elated. Did I say it was elated? Yeah, elated in a correct sentence with me, and even put it in a sentence. I'll give you a chance call, but the first person I'm definitely going to give a Ring Pop 2. Just a quick quiz. So, finish 132. You have 4 to do in there, and 137 is done for you. And I know this was a little bit tough one, but I hope you guys kind of got a little bit of understanding. Light words to dark words. And dark words means they have deeper meaning. Not that they're dark as in violent or negative. They just have a deeper meaning. So broad, very light, to deep. Okay? If you start using these words in your writing, goodness gracious, you guys are going to start flying on this. Okay? So get the final 4 done in this. And other than that, you guys need to stay warm. Okay? Be safe.